The Truth and Reconciliation Committee happened in South Africa in the year 1995. The aim was to promote national unity, and we are 30 years into our democracy. Can we honestly say we are reaping the rewards or benefits of having undergone this process? There were public hearings in which some of the victims and perpetrators from the apartheid regime and the liberation movement participated. Citizens had to listen to horrific stories or incidences of what happened. The question is, what was the outcome besides the amnesty that was offered to some of these victims and perpetrators? Were we given a chance as a nation to undergo the grieving process, the healing process? To say we understand, some will be angry, some will be happy, some will feel justice has been served. There were tears, we were allowed, there were counseling sessions for the nation to say, if you feel overwhelmed, here's a number, a toll-free number, or you can approach this organization to help you through this process. The families whereby they've lost their loved ones, or they hardly know what happened to them, what was done to help them? Welcome to this discussion. It's pgy.mashamba, an elderly ordinary citizen. Would you say there is a need to restart this TRC process in a different format? Because as it is, our children, grandchildren who are students now, these are millennials, because at high school level, they are 18 years and less. They are suffering, they are facing challenges related to racism. And in honest fact, racism is a common enemy of all of us, whether we are black, white, Indian, or colored. We did undergo the TRC. Why are we allowing our children to face such challenges? Does it mean us as adults, maybe we are selfish, we are not equipping them? Or is it a sign to say from the government they did not have follow-up measures to say, how do we help citizens to survive the challenges that were related to the apartheid regime? Maybe in our minds, we crossed over with transitions to the new democracy with a lot of scars, psychologically, emotionally. And we are transferring this to the young ones. Hence, some of them will say, we do not understand. Let us listen to this interview. According to these students, they are black. They are saying they are uncomfortable. And they are not saying us as black students. They are encompassing students of other racial groups to say blacks, white, Indians, and coloreds. So it means the challenge is bigger.
Left, anxious, and confused.
I feel disappointed, this is very sad, I never knew, it's very sad, the situation.
It makes us want to cry.
It's painful to see what we are going through. I get it, guys.
Yeah. Right now, we are all in uncomfortable positions, both white, black, and Indian, and all races are in an uncomfortable position. Because right now, we are in the midst of suspension, all the sanctions happening, but we don't know.
The poor students tried to follow the correct process. They approached the school principal and the concerned teachers, and their efforts were in vain. It was just a futile exercise, because they were even told, allegedly, to say even black lawyers could not resolve such issues before you. So it might maybe mean, who do you think you are? With the second video, you might find it funny to listen to this ex-student to say, we were not aware we were oppressed.
Just here to support the girls. They're doing what we were too scared to do. We were pushed down, literally, and they threatened us with all sorts of things, like not writing matric exams just for speaking out against the injustices. And from the outside now we can see how oppressive this was, and we just want to stand with them and support them all the way. We're girls, high pupils. We know the struggle. We've been there. We've been oppressed in class, and we've only realized that we've been oppressed a few weeks ago after those girls came out. I remember in grade 9, we were told by a specific teacher that we shouldn't speak our township languages in class. We were told our afros were too big, our braids shouldn't be bigger than 1 centimeter in diameter. We were told a lot, and we are here to fight for the girls that are still in the school, because if we don't, then who will?
What could have happened? What could have led them to not pick up the challenges? Is it perhaps maybe they did complain at home to their parents, their guardians, or whoever, an adult in their lives who was advising them? And maybe they were told, actually, you are fortunate to be in that school. That is a prestigious type of a school. As you can see, you can witness, as you can observe, whatever term they are using at home. We are working very hard to make sure we can afford your fees in that school. So try and ignore the negatives, the challenges that you are experiencing in that school. Don't lose focus. Study hard so that you can get the best matric results. We are giving you a best start for your tertiary education and your future. And these children listened. They never complained. Now that they have passed their matric, they are at tertiary, or maybe they are in the employment world now, they are young adults. It comes back when they hear or see other students saying, we are feeling the pain. And they start remembering, we went through that, but we never realized we were oppressed because we were told to focus. I'll want to throw in a scenario, just one. Maybe you can also know of other scenarios. We had this young child, she's a young adult now, who's employed now. When she was still at a lower primary level, that is the younger grades, there was a time when her brother and sister started hitting her at home. And the friends in the neighborhood that she used to play with started giving her a hiding. And it was funny for the mother, because this was a child who was a jolly child and extrovert. And then one day she asked the brother to say, why did you hit her? And the brother said, no, she's calling us pigs. And mom asked her, why do you say you pig to other children? Do you know what is a pig? And the child responded in Zulu, a pig ingulube, mama. Then why do you say other children are pigs? And the poor child fetched her book. Remember, in lower level grades, they get stars on their books. She showed mom her stars, of which mom is aware of the stars. She said, no, whenever the teacher, she gives you a star, she says, "You pig," and brushes you at the back of your head. And then to this child, by these words, "you pig," from the teacher, it meant well done. So she's repeating the same words to the others because remember, ma'am is her role model. And I'll leave it to your imagination how that was resolved. I'm sure most teachers can attest to you, even parents, to say, most of the challenges that our children experience at school levels, they never reach the social media. They are being addressed amicably and life goes on. But does it mean we are addressing the source of the problem? Those teachers who are involved, at what level are they emotionally when it comes to racist-related issues? With the next video, it's going to show you screenshots which were allegedly posted by white students from this particular school. And it's not unique to their school, it happens in other schools. These white students started a WhatsApp group. The question is, what prompted them to start that WhatsApp group? What was pushing them? Couldn't they have approached the school principal and the concerned teachers to say, "We've got a challenge, help us to resolve it"? Or is it maybe they tried before and were brushed off like these black students who, from our first interview, indicated, and were told it cannot be resolved? So they were trying to understand and resolve the situation amongst themselves.
Essentially, we had gotten the screenshots on the Wednesday, and in the morning, my friend and I decided to go speak to our principal and our deputy. However, we were both dismissed in very similar ways. We were discouraged in terms of what's going to happen. They told us nothing's going to happen because in 2016, nothing was done by black lawyers and other people. So what do we think is going to happen now? And then at break, we decided to have a protest, but we decided that it was going to be too disruptive as we had to learn. After school, we decided to do a peaceful protest in front of the school just to get our principal's attention because it really bothered us what was being said in the group chats about black girls.
In the group chat, there were a lot of comments on how we as the black girls shouldn't be angry about the rules at the school and how apartheid ended a long time ago and that we should get over it because we have leftover emotions, and that we were told we get to have we get to dye our hair now, what more do we want, and that the world is in our favor, that they are suffering, and we should basically just get over it and move on, and we are the reason apartheid will never end, and we just can't get over it.
Based on the screenshots, one of the responses allegedly posted by one of the students states that, "I do not understand what these black students want because they are now privileged. They are getting everything that they want." And when you read and you interpret one of the screenshots as well, the other student is actually saying, we do not know how they feel. It means we are not in their boots. What do these screenshots tell you? They are telling you to say whatever challenge they are referring to. Some of them are starting to think, how are these black students behaving? What's pushing them? Because according to them, being white, they feel the black students are in a better position now. Don't you think they are trying to understand the behavior of whatever they are addressing to say, but why should they behave in that manner? Are they not confirming what the black students said in the initial interview to say, we do not understand. What is this saying to us as parents? The sad part is, for example, political parties. Some of them attend these toys. I'll use the common word used to say, when you picket, we say itoi in an African language. They go and picket, supporting students according to race, to say, we are supporting the black students. And then some will go and support the white students. Don't you think the two groups of parents or adults, you are both missing the point to say, you are also approaching the challenge that these kids are facing, use the racial connotation, instead of saying, wait, as adult, let's try and understand this student. What is it that is bothering them? How about saying, let's put the common enemy called racism aside. Let's have a round table of the affected students. Listen to them, or as a suggestion, get adults who do not have children in that school, who will be neutral, to listen to both sets of students, to say, what is the cause, what is the source of the problem? Maybe these students can shock us as adults. They can have their own TRC in their own way to say, these are the challenges, we pinpoint this problem and this problem and this problem. And then amongst themselves, they can be able to come up with a way forward to say, to resolve this issue. Maybe me as a black or Indian or white student, I thought this, you are behaving in this way because of that. And the other one likewise will say like that. And then they can reach a compromise on their own. And then as adults, then you come in to say, based on this compromise, this is a way to approach it. We spoke about the TRC to say, maybe we need a continuation in a different format. One of the suggestions could be, we've got this subject called life orientation. It's helping the students a lot from the lower grade to the pupils to learn about issues of life. Maybe those teachers could be equipped on handling race-related training sessions. Weaken the word racism. Train these students to say, when there is a problem, don't see color. See the source, the cause, what led to that. Maybe in that way you'll find that there are less complaints, because now students, they start to broaden their minds on how they view challenges. And they're able to come into terms to say, this is the challenge. It doesn't matter whether the source is from an Indian, a black, colored, or white student. And this is how we're going to tackle it without adding the word racism. Because in all honesty, racism will always be there. Our children, our grandchildren, unfortunately at home, they also listen to parents' frustrations. In gatherings, public gatherings, we've seen adults engaging in fights, and there's a racist connotation in that fight. let us learn how to weaken racism. Where does the government come in here? We've got the government, we've got our psychologists, psychiatrists, experts in different fields, and people who are at home, adults who are unemployed, who are pensioners. We can be able maybe to form some organizations whereby we talk about this racism. Let's weaken it. We cannot eradicate it. Maybe that could be another form of a TRC, a healing process, so that we make a better foundation for those children who have not yet started schooling, to make a better foundation for those teachers. Not all teachers struggle in handling race-related challenges faced by students, but there are those teachers who are perpetrators, like the example I made of this teacher who says to the young ones, "You pig," and brushing the child. Those are the people who need to be upgraded to do an introspection. In an adult world, places of employment, there's cultural diversity training offered by companies. Is it enough? Is it hitting a nerve the right way on us adults? Or we are cowards, we are so scared. You have to maintain your position, your job, because you've got your family. You have to look after yourself emotionally and brush off the challenges, because we're allowing the word racism, the enemy racism, to take the upper hand. TRC, I think, yes, it happened, it was good, but we need follow-up programs in different formats to can help us to heal, to can help us to face the challenges, to can help us to say, yes, there is a challenge, but we can handle it because we don't see color on it. We see the source, the cause, and we nip that cause in the bud, and then we can move on. Meaning that 20 years from now, 10 years from now, the younger ones, when they start their schooling, the teachers start them early through life orientation. As parents, grandparents, guardians at home, we start our children early to say, these are the challenges in life. It's called racism. You're going to introduce it according to the age of the child. But by the time a child is a teenager in high school, they are much more prepared to can say, yes, I felt the pain. It was from a white student or a black student, but the cause of the pain is this. It's not about racism. If there is a racist connotation, then you both address it to say, be aware, let's not understand our common enemy, racism, to destroy us. There is a link of a video talking about at what age does one start to understand the word politics, tribalism, racism, and another video on Soweto uprising. If you can watch those videos, maybe they can also add on to say, yes, These things happened. We cannot hide them. We are also contributing positively, but in a negative way, to encourage racism, tribalism. How do we weaken those issues? Because those are terms that will always be there in our lives, but we need to be able to face them in a different format. Kindly subscribe and add in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think TRC was enough once off, or do we need a continuation in different formats to help adults, including the young ones? Thank you for being part of this discussion. It's appreciated.